رئيس قسم الترجمة الحالي وأحد أعضاء الكادر التدريسي لقسم الترجمة منذ نشأته. حاصل على شهادة الدكتوراه من جامعة الكويز من المملكة المتحدة في تخصص الترجمة الشفوية، كما شغل العديد من المناصب الإدارية في اللجان العلمية والفنية. شارك في العديد من الأنشطة الأكاديمية على المستوى الدولي، يعمل جاهداً على مد جسور التعاون مع الجامعات الدولية والكوادر الأجنبية من خلال إقامة العديد من الندوات والحلقات النقاشية. يتبع في تعليم الترجمة الشفوية أسلوباً متميزاً يجعل من الترجمة متعة وسهلة الفهم، فهو يستخدم أساليب متعددة بما في ذلك الاستماع الجيد والتفاعل، ويوضح كيفية التعامل مع التحديات التي يواجهها الطلاب في عمل الترجمة. هو يعتمد على تدريس الترجمة الشفوية على تدريبات عملية وممارسة متكررة للطلاب، حتى يعمل على تقديم النصوص المختلفة وتمارين الترجمة بطريقة تفاعلية مباشرة. بحثه لهذا اليوم The Bright and the Dark Sides of Sport Interpreting in Iraq مع الأستاذ الدكتور جاسم خليفة المرياني.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته مرة أخرى. Sorry for the change in the schedule because we have one delegate who apologized he couldn't make it today, and so to save time tomorrow we had to make certain shift, and I'll talk today about sport interpreting in Iraq. I'm talking to specialists, to students of translation, as well as translation scholars and translation teachers. So the expression of sport interpreting is something that is unfamiliar. You know, the market needs impose certain necessities that we have to develop and integrate into translation and interpreting. I started in 2003 the Department of Translation. So we have not actually integrated sport interpreting into our student training, although it is a very emerging field. It has revolutionized, and especially Basra hosted the Gulf Cup. So particularly at that moment I thought of what are the weaknesses that our translation and interpreting program suffer from. How can we improve, strengthen our trainers, our students, in order to meet the market needs, such as the competitions in arenas? So I started searching the topic. As you know, to be a sport interpreter has two important sides. First of all, the skill of being an interpreter, as well as background knowledge as far as sport is concerned. There are a number of videos that are interesting, and depending on these videos that we are going to see, there are many question marks that we can raise today as far as sport interpreting is concerned. So, as long as sport interpreting in Iraq is concerned, we are too late in this particular field. That is why sometimes we rely on what foreign interpreters in order to cover our sport competitions. Besides, there are certain occasions in which organizers rely on interpreters or certain experts in sport in order to cover, in order to communicate, in order to bridge the gap between the activities, between what the players are doing, as well as the audience. So depending on these videos, we will decide our starting point. So let me first of all differentiate between local and foreign This is the Saudi football team, and in the dark, as you can see, the interpreter. As you can see, here the interpreter does not only interpret words or meanings, he interprets movements and pitch of the voice and sensations. Only at that point the interpreter can influence what his or her audience. And if we complete the report, people say that the interpreter here played a very constructive role in winning the match. If we had another interpreter, the effect, the feedback could be less. So this is as far as what the properties, qualities, the strengths of being a sport interpreter. We know that you have background knowledge, but you should frame these skills in what? In a more productive way, which is imitating. And excuse me to say, imitate. Sometimes you absorb these feelings and emotions and reflect them to your audience. We have a similar situation with the Iraqi football team. He is Egyptian. So, okay, so we have two examples. Saudi interpreter and Egyptian interpreter for the Iraqi football team, and as you can see, they have what reflected what everything, movements and sound and so on. So these are the properties, these are the qualifications that should sport interpreters possess. Now the question that we ask to ourselves, in Basra particularly, do we train our students, our trainee students to act the same way? Of course, no, it is a very neglected area. So we should pay attention to that particular area. This is from the one side. I'll take you into another aspect, which is what the hiring of local interpreters to cover sport activities. This is here, this is the so-called interpreter of Iraqi football team. And I'll take you first of all to his delivery and the quality of such of delivery, and then to the comments that are written by the audience, and how these comments influence not only the identity of him or herself, but our profession as a whole. Now, I look to the, so this is the, let's say, so-called interpreter of the Iraqi football team. As you can see, the the performance is very poor, language is ill, and now he is treated as the interpreter of the Iraqi football team. So he is not only degrading him or herself, but also our profession as interpreters. This is the other aspect. So when we want to rely on local interpreters as far as sport interpreting is concerned, we should pay attention to how to train these people in order to be representatives of our profession. I think only next year we will integrate material in our departments, which is called sport translation or sport or a translation for specialized purposes. But does this particular course or is this particular course appropriate for the market needs which are growing in Iraq? The answer is no. So we find ourselves obliged to rely on what? Foreign interpreters. Now let's watch of the weaknesses of hiring a foreign interpreter. This is the interpreter of the Iraqi football team, and he went to Maysan. But actually he doesn't know that Maysan is also known as Amara. So listen to his interpreting. As you can see, there are certain things that can be unconsciously absorbed, and here we recall prepositions suggested by Dr. Ali al-Manna, relying on Pierre Bourdieu, habitus, and so on. So here there are certain things that can be unconsciously absorbed, like what? The enthusiasm, loyalty to the team, but there are also the quality issue which can also be improved, but unless we prepare, unless we have, let's say, a well-constructed, planned course in order to train our translators and interpreters. And thank you for your